My very first internship experience was at Bankers Trust on Wall Street in New York City. I walked in one summer to intern for my very first work experience. I was a senior in high school, and I remember thinking how incredibly boring it was. I looked around and I could just watch the paint dry. It was so boring. It wasn't what I was passionate about. I was criticized one day for not wearing makeup, so I was in a very chauvinistic culture. And I remember thinking, I can do the job, but this isn't where my passions align. There's a lot of money, greed. It's not a good fit for me. So the next year, I decided to raise my hand and volunteer to be an MTV intern for free. And my school encouraged everyone to study abroad, but because I had grown up abroad, I really wanted to focus on what my future was going to be. Where am I going to get a job? And even at a very young age in college, I created my own internship program at MTV. My college is tiny, and I was the very first pioneer to make that happen because I saw value in doing it. Rather than going to Beijing, where I had grown up, I wanted to actually go and work. So I worked full-time for free at MTV for a semester in my spring year of college. And it afforded me a really different outlook of what business could be like. Business doesn't have to be boring and Wall Street and number crunching. It actually can be creative and fun. And there were people that looked like me. People that had tattoos, people that had blue hair, people that didn't always wear makeup. And I just felt more accepted in that environment of entertainment culture and corporations. So after MTV, I decided to stay in that field and try another opportunity. So I went into NBC Universal. It was the culture that I wanted to be a part of. And as, things started to shift and things were changing and I kept rising and rising, I realized that working at NBC Universal was great. I was working in the cable entertainment division, which encompasses Bravo, USA Network, which is the #1 cable network, and the Sci-Fi Channel. And I specifically worked on sci-fi. And it was awesome. But what I was realizing was digital is where everything was kind of gravitating towards. You could just feel it in the air. You could feel it in the trades. You could just talk to people. And everyone's on their phones. Everyone's on their computers. So as much as people are engaging with television, there was new mediums that I didn't know much about. And I wanted to challenge myself to learn more. And after spending 4 years getting promoted every year for 4 years at NBC, I felt like NBC wasn't going to give me that learning environment I needed for digital and mobile because they were so centered on television and cable. So I was walking home one day, getting on my train to commute back home, and I saw a picture of 3 men sitting on big exercise balls, and it says, #1 company to work for, Google. And I looked at the picture and it looked so happy. It was like bright colors and it was like employees sitting on exercise balls. Like, that's not business. That's not corporate culture or how I was exposed to through my father in finance or my sister in investment banking. Like, I didn't know what that was. But I looked at that magazine cover and I said, I want to work for that company because that company inspires me and it makes me want to work for them. And so that day, I applied online and just happened to get called, and it's very rare. The stats are not in your favor. Most people get into a company based on referrals, based on people who can speak intelligently about them, and I blindly went and I just applied and I submitted my application, and I went through 6 months of rigorous testing and rigorous interviews, but I never took my eye off the prize. I knew I wanted to work at that company with the 3 men on the balls. Like, that was where I wanted to be. I put all of my positive energy, all of my thoughts. I believed I had that job before I had it. And I was still interviewing on the side, looking at CBS and a couple other companies, but I just knew I wanted to be at YouTube. I knew I wanted to be at Google. There was something special about this company because they're looking at things differently than what I had been exposed to. I wanted to still be in business, but I still wanted my creative ideas to be heard and to be used, and how could I kind of make the creative side of me mesh with the business side of me? How can I still drive revenue, yet work on the Oscars? And now I get to do that. And that's the perfect job for me in terms of what I'm looking to do in my life.